Top of the morning to y'all. It's Eric here with Rabbit and Red Reviews. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and while I am not wearing green, I am drinking Irish whiskey. Kilbeggan small batch rye Irish whiskey, that is. We're going to take a look at this one today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Kilbeggan Distillery. We'll do the nose, we'll do the taste, we'll do the finish. I'll talk about the value, give you my final thoughts, give you a score for this whiskey. So the Kilbeggan Distillery is an Irish distillery. It just resumed actually distilling whiskey after, I think it closed in about 1957, started up again in 2007. A couple interesting notes about Kilbeggan actually. One of the two copper pot stills, which are famous Irish whiskey method of distilling, one of those stills is actually the oldest copper pot still in operation in the entire world. So that's pretty cool. Regarding this small batch Irish whiskey itself, this is actually an interesting bottle. So this is bottled at 43% ABV and is actually the first whiskey that's been fully distilled at Kilbeggan since they reopened. So I believe they were sourcing a lot of the grains for the other stuff. This has all been done in-house at Kilbeggan. So it's a pretty interesting story behind this, and something worth celebrating. So on the bottle here, it says, from Ireland's oldest licensed distillery, this unique spirit pays tribute to the golden age of Irish whiskey with a rare heritage mash of rye, malt, and barley. Okay. All right. So let's put a little bit of this in the glass. So the mash bill on this itself is, as it mentioned, that it's malted and unmalted barley. It is said to be about 30% rye on the actual mash bill itself. So, you know, for those who are seasoned rye whiskey drinkers, not a high rye mash bill by any stretch. So I'm not expecting, I guess, a huge kick of rye off of this small batch Irish whiskey. Okay. So, can take a peek at the color of this right there. Good. Okay, let's get into it. So on the nose, yeah, as expected, it is not very rye spicy. I'm getting a lot of vanilla, a lot of like tropical fruit. Honeydew melon is the one thing that's coming to mind the most. Maybe even like cantaloupe. There's also a slight kind of butterscotch, caramel apple to some degree, a little bit of mild rye spice in the background, but you know, nothing heavy at all. Seems to be playing kind of second fiddle to the kind of tropical fruitiness of this, and the vanilla as well. Interesting stuff. Okay, let's give it a taste. All right. The taste here. Wow, it's quite interesting. It's pretty delicate and rounded, yet it's also, I guess I'd say, rich on the palate. Toffee, that melon is there again. Kind of some of that classic Irish pot still grain note, probably from the unmalted barley. That, you know, if you've ever drank Irish whiskey before, you definitely know that kind of signature flavor. Then, as it develops, a little bit light kick of that rye spice is starting to come in a bit. Also kind of like golden apple, so vanilla caramel thing still working. Also, a little bit of a tingle. It's like slight black pepper. As it goes into the finish, it's a medium. It's quite warming. A little bit of dark chocolate on the finish. Some pear, so that kind of like melon pear thing is still working all the way from the nose to the finish. The rye spices are there. As it dries, they're a little bit faded, but they're definitely making their presence known. maybe like a hint of spearmint to some degree. And then, yeah, you know, there's a wee kind of copper penny note just at the end. So it's a little bit of like metallic to some degree, but not in a bad way at all. Interesting. You know, as a Yankee, I certainly had my fair share of rye whiskeys here in the United States, and this definitely is much milder than a lot of those. So this is a rather unique experience, but let's put a little water on it and see what happens. If I put too much, this is only bottled at 43%. So nose isn't changing much. I want to say the vanilla is getting a little bit more assertive. I'm also getting a little bit of a cinnamon nutmeg thing going on. I'm actually not quite sure what type of casks this is. This has actually been aged in. It is a non-age statement, so we're not even sure how old it is. But considering this is, I guess, one of the first whiskeys fully distilled and made at Kilbeggan Distillery, might not be all that old. I think it's, yeah, this is a little bit spicier. So just taking a quick look at my notes, it's actually, yeah, it is the first whiskey to be 100% distilled and matured at Kilbeggan since the distillery was reopened. So, you know, sláinte to them for that. Yeah, the apple, the pear, the melon, still really strong on the nose. Not much difference. Let's give it a taste now. So with the additional water, the taste actually doesn't change a whole lot. It seems to balance itself even further, if that was possible. I found this to be really well balanced, neat, but it's quite balanced, you know, even more so with the additional water. Going into the finish, the chocolate stands out a little bit more, but not a whole big change on this. Interesting. Yeah, this is one I guess I would recommend. You know, you can add water to it. And it's not going to drown it. I wouldn't put too much in, but it's also really, really great neat. So, okay. So take a look at the bottle of this once again. I happen to really like this bottle. It's really, really thick glass, short and stout. It's a good looking bottle. In the United States right now, this isn't exclusive, but it'd be a little bit hard to find. About 35 to 45 bucks. Tough to say on the value, and here's why. I mean, at the end of the day, this is not your average rye whiskey. The spice is pretty muted and balanced with a lot of these kind of sweet tropical fruits and this vanilla thing going on. Honestly, this is one of the most easy drinking ryes I've ever had. And, you know, I think my final word on this is that it's an interesting pour. I could see how this could both frustrate fans of really high rye mash bill whiskeys. It could really intrigue folks that like to sip rye whiskeys. And it might actually open door to rye whiskeys for those who are noobs to it and have not had a lot of ryes before. So it's pretty versatile, pretty interesting. I think my final score on this is going to be a 3 out of 5 stars, which on my rating scale, which you'll see in the description section, is I recommend trying or buying a bottle of this at a good price. All right, y'all. So that is my review of Kilbeggan Small Batch Rye Whiskey. And we'll catch you next time here on Rabbit and Red Reviews. Cheers.